even though it was cheap, it was significantly more expensive than Colombia. Whereas like, Colombia is just, your money goes really far there. Like I said the hotel stay itself was $800, where in Colombia our hotel was like $450 for the same amount of time. So it's kind of in that middle point where I'd say I'd give it probably about average. To where, yes, it's definitely more affordable than probably like European countries and other countries that are more expensive, more affordable than the US for sure, but not as affordable as some other places like Colombia, Thailand, where we have visited, and our money goes a long way.
Over 50% of Black Americans are unmarried, and only 2% of Black families in America have a net worth over $1 million.
We are on our journey to not only join that 2%, but grow that 2%.
Facts. I'm Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. You can go to our website at them4show.com, our Instagram at the M4 Show, and our YouTube channel at Melanated Married Millionaires in the making.
And welcome to the M4 Show. Welcome back, beautiful people, to the M4 Show, Melanated Married Millionaires in the making. I'm your host, Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, and I'm joined digitally this time, unfortunately, by the beautiful, the amazing, the smiling, the health-orific, health-jevity queen herself. Please introduce yourself.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. And yes, today we have birthed the term health-jevity. You've heard it here second, because Black Future Month technically heard it first.
Love it. But Queen, all right, let's jump right into it, y'all. We're talking about Zanzibar. We just got back. Well, just got back is a strong word. It's been 3 months now, or 2 months now.
2 months.
But it's been 2 months since our disheartening return to America. But in all seriousness, we had an amazing trip. All of March, we had 4 different destinations. We went to Colombia, Portugal, Zanzibar, and Cape Town. So in our return, we just wanted to be able to share a little bit of our experience with other melanated married couples, because we really feel like traveling opens up our eyes. Exposure to different cultures, to seeing the way that different problems are solved, opens our eyes and allows us to, one, appreciate life a little bit more, but also figure out ways that we can use some of that culture or be inspired by some of that culture to create business ideas here, experiences abroad, and so much more. So, Queen, without further ado, can you get us started with the first category in our Zanzibar trip?
Yes. So I like to start off. We got our 4 C's again. So to review: cost, cuisine, capades, which are definitely basically just excursions and different activities we did, and then culture. I would like to start off with cost, because I feel like that's what people want to know about most. And like
give them what they want.
Right. The biggest barrier to like traveling, I feel like, is the cost. So I like to start there. So to kind of review a little bit of information about cost, one, I would like to also talk about currency, because I think whenever you're traveling abroad, that's a huge thing, is like, what is the currency? What's the exchange rate? So just to give you an idea, in Tanzania, they use Tanzanian shillings. And so $1 is about a little over 2,300. So when I looked, this was maybe about a week ago, it was 2,365. So 2,365 Tanzanian shillings. So it's quite a difference there. Now, what I want to talk about is we actually never really exchanged currency throughout our trip there. And so the reason why we were able to do that is because most vendors either accept credit card or US dollars, because they are very tourist kind of based, and they know that they do get quite a few US tourists. Most of them will just accept US dollars. So it's not necessarily required for you to exchange your money in Zanzibar, at least in the east side of Zanzibar where we were at. We never really had, I don't think we ever ran into an issue where we were not able to pay for something. So that's just something to keep in mind. That is the exchange rate, but it's not necessarily required in Zanzibar. Now, I also like to talk about flights because that is typically the biggest cost when traveling, and especially when traveling to Zanzibar, that is likely going to be your biggest cost. Now, for us, as Devon mentioned, we were on kind of a little world tour, so we actually were coming from Portugal when we went to Zanzibar, and we had a layover in Amsterdam, I believe. And so that flight was a little bit different. But I know most people are going to want to know what's the flight like from the US. So we would have been flying out from LAX. So I looked up round trip flights from LAX, and you're looking at about $1,200 to $1,400 round trip per person. So that is something to keep in mind. It is a significant kind of chunk of change, and that is likely going to be, again, your biggest expense. So that is how much you should budget, at least for during kind of these summertime, months. There may be other months when it's a little bit cheaper, but from like March to like June-ish, that's about roughly what you're looking to pay for flights to get to and from Zanzibar.
Yes, and in addition to how much it's going to cost you in money, Sinclair, I don't know if you wrote this down, but the time that it will also take to get to Zanzibar, I don't want to discourage anybody because we are travel people and we are willing to invest the time. But I understand there's some folks that are just like, being on a flight for 24 hours or 26 hours can seem a little bit daunting. So I would definitely encourage folks to break up the flight. Right. So whether that's going from LA to New York and then New York to Zanzibar, or LA to Italy, London, and then there from Zanzibar, but try to break it up and maybe have a longer layover. As the Queen said, we had a few layovers in our experience, but all of them were like, 5 hours. The most was, I think, Ethiopia and Amsterdam, where it was maybe like a 9-hour, 10-hour layover where we got to actually sleep over, but we couldn't actually experience that place. So I think if we can go back and we both kind of talk about this, we would have more strategic layovers that are a couple of days so we can actually experience it and then get to our final destination.
Yeah, it's definitely ideal to kind of break it up. Otherwise, you're likely going to be traveling for almost a full day if you just kind of power it through. So, to each their own, but we do like the idea of breaking it up a bit and stopping, which is why we did the way we did it, where we weren't, I don't think we ever had, our flight home was the longest because we broke it up, throughout each stage. But yes, good point. Long flights, you got to keep that in mind. You do get to get up and walk around once you get to like whatever peak, height, but something to keep in mind. Now I do want to talk about like how much we actually paid. So we basically stayed at like a small like boutique resort type thing. It had like maybe 8 rooms. You get to know everybody by name. Like if you don't come down for breakfast, they're like, "Hey, what happened? Everything okay?" Right? It's real like Airbnb, like breakfast and was a bed and breakfast type vibe. And that was mostly, at least on the east side of the island, that is mostly what was around. There weren't a whole lot of like big resorts like the Hiltons or the Hyatts or whatever that you might see in a lot of other places. It was mostly kind of small boutique resorts, which I liked that. It was kind of a different vibe.
I liked it too. Yep.
Yeah. Now, so with that being said, we paid for most things through our resort, through our hotel. And so not only did we get it's not an all inclusive. So I want to differentiate. We paid for everything through the resort, but it is not all inclusive, meaning it's not a set price. The difference between what I'm talking about and all inclusive is a set price, right? You're paying this much and it comes with your food, it comes with your drinks, it comes with all of that. What we did is basically we were able to just pay through everything through the hotel. And so our food with the restaurant right downstairs, they would just bill it to our room that we paid afterwards. But, we did pay for each individual meal, each individual drink. And then also excursions, right? We booked most of our excursions through the hotel as well. Most of our taxis, like anytime we needed to do something, we kind of used their concierge services and paid for it through the hotel along with the lodging. So for hotel, food, drinks, and excursions, it was about $1,600 for the week for both of us.
Hold on. I want to make sure that people really understand that number because I didn't realize it was that affordable, to be honest with you. So,
and I hope I'm not forgetting anything. I think that was about right when I went back and checked all of our.
Yeah. So we're looking at $1,600 US and that was 7 days or 6 days?
I think we were there 6 days.
Okay, six days, and we're talking about food, and y'all know we eat. We were not. We were eating. we were ordering multiple things, multiple.
It came with
meals.
free breakfast. It did come
free
with
breakfast was
that
included,
helped.
which was beautiful. Free breakfast, all you can eat breakfast. They made custom omelets and all that stuff in the morning. They had the waffles. It was good stuff.
They had avocado. You can make your own avocado toast. Oh, that was wonderful. I think we lost the king there. He's frozen. But like he was saying, we were able to get most of our things included or as a part of kind of the hotel experience. So just to repeat, our hotel stay, which was for 6 days, that was a total of $800. So of that $1,600, about half of that was the hotel stay. And then everything else was paid for separately, and it came out to about $1,600. So that's with the meals, with the activities, and the drinks, about $1,600. So it's pretty affordable when you think about, that's probably $1,600 is probably what you would pay just for a hotel in a lot of other places. So yeah, definitely pretty affordable. And sorry, King, I was jumping in because you froze there for a second. Did you want to?
Yeah, because you
finish your
said
statement?
avocado toast, and then my computer was like, I need that
What?
now. Right, it lost its mind real quick. But I think it's just extremely affordable, and knowing how affordable it was to do all the excursions, to eat, to do the capes and all that stuff, I think I would have wanted to probably stay in Zanzibar longer. Right, especially since the flight is $1,600 or $1,200 itself. You want to milk that flight for all it's worth. So I think in retrospect, if we could, I would have probably stayed in Zanzibar, maybe different parts. Like I know we were in East, maybe we would have tried out North for a little bit, maybe when it went to West for a little bit, but spent a solid 2 weeks in Zanzibar since it was just so affordable.
Yeah. And there's a lot to see. Like we did maybe and we'll talk more about it in the capades. So we did like 3 different excursions. But yeah, there's so much to do that we could have definitely taken advantage of.
Oh yeah. So cost, Queen, what would be your score for Zanzibar for cost?
I'm going to give I think I'm going to give Zanzibar a 7.
Okay, break that down for me.
So it's definitely like when you're thinking about, it's all about comparison. And to me, when we're talking about cost. So yes, it's definitely cheaper than some other places. It's also more expensive than some other places. Like even though it was cheap, it was significantly more expensive than Colombia. Whereas like, Colombia is just, your money goes really far there. Like I said the hotel stay itself was $800, where in Colombia, our hotel was like $450 for the same amount of time. So it's kind of in that middle point where I'd say I'd give it probably about average, to where, yes, it's definitely more affordable than probably like European countries and other countries that are more expensive, more affordable than the US for sure, but not as affordable as some other places like Colombia, Thailand, where we have visited, and our money goes a long way.
Okay. Thank you for giving me the context again, because I feel like I'm in this conversation right now thinking $1,600 for a week, easy. But yeah, when I think back to the other travel experiences, then okay. You said 7. I'm gonna also stick with 7. All right. So we got costs, and I'm taking notes on this side. You can take notes on that side too, so we can both be getting this mathing. But cost, we got a 7 so far, right? So again, pretty affordable, but that flight is going to be the most expensive part of the trip. So highly recommend y'all trying to stay in an additional place in between, just to break up the experience a little bit.
I didn't even consider the flight. That actually might knock it down to a 6.5.
Oh, 6.5. Do I add it to the notes, Sinclair?
Yeah, go ahead and add it. If I'm thinking about the flight, yeah, and it's really hard to get around that unless you're even if you're stopping somewhere, you're still gonna have to pay for 2 flights. So yeah, the flight is hard to get around. So Yeah, I'm gonna knock that down. I'm gonna knock that down to 6.5.
Okay, 6.5. So we are at 6.75 for costs. Okay. Now let's move on to the next category, Queen. What is the next C in our travels?
We were talking about some of the activities that were included in the price, so I think that's a good kind of segue. So we'll do capades, which again is kind of adventures, activities, the things we did. So one of the first things that we did do, one of the first kind of excursions, all day excursions that we did was the Blue Safari. And so that was, you see the king smiling. That was a fun day.
Yes.
So that was a full day. We left in the morning. We drove. Yeah, we drove to like another part of the island. Then we took a boat ride that was maybe 45 minutes, Devon.
A boat ride? That boat ride, yeah, 45 minutes to an hour. It seemed
To
really
an
long to
hour.
me. Yeah.
I mean, because it's really not that far, but the boat does not go very fast. So it was probably, yeah, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. A nice scenic like boat ride. You get to see beautiful water, right? There was people out there doing interesting things. So definitely a nice boat ride. But it took about an hour to get to our first destination, which was I always mess this up, sandbar or sandbank.
Bank.
Devon.
I don't know why you always say
Bank.
bar.
Okay.
Bank.
I don't know. Sandbank. I even had it written here. I should have just read my notes. We went to a sandbank, which is almost like a little mini island in the middle of the ocean. It's just like a pile of, basically like a big pile of sand, and it creates just like a 360-degree beach.
You want it to be a bar so badly, Sinclair.
I don't know. I don't know why.
It's a
but yeah, it was just beautiful, clear waters. You literally just kind of go out and you can just chill. It's almost just like wading in the really, really clear blue water. And it was just really nice. They serve you fresh fruit. They put tents up so you can go into the shade when you want. So that was stop number one. And then we also got to snorkel right after that. We just went slightly off of the sand bank. I promise you, I almost said it again. We went slightly off of the sand bank and went snorkeling. That was really cool. The water is so clear. You can see the water. You can see the fish from the boat. But really getting down into the water, they give you snorkel gear, and you can go and, actually they give you even fish. You can feed the fish. The fish will come right up to you. There were no not friendly fish. That's always my concern, but it was shallow enough to where I wasn't concerned that okay, there's no sharks that can come and get us here. So yeah, it was really, really cool to see all the fish. Again, they come up right up to you. You can put your little waterproof camera under the water and get pictures with the fishies. So that was really cool.
We got all types of really good footage. So, on the back end, I know our team's going to do a great job at putting some good B-rolls and making sure y'all get all of that. But yeah, Blue Safari, all in all, was just a really, really good experience. Definitely recommend it. We also went on a spice tour, right? We got to see different spices at a spice farm. We got to see some nutmeg, some cinnamon, some jackfruit. We got to see someone climb a coconut tree with their bare hands, bare feet, get it and serve it to us, cut it open, and got to eat that fresh coconut. They also served us lunch. Yeah, lunch there as well. So that was really fun. And then we got, the capade, Sinclair, I'm be honest with you, was a little underwhelming. And I blame it on the weather, right? Because it was raining. There's a lot going on. But we did a Jamestown tour. Stonetown. Thank you. Did a Stonetown tour. And that was it was a little bit underwhelming just because it was literally pouring rain. Pouring rain. Yeah, scooters and cars going by. We got to see some stuff, but because it was kind of cloudy, we couldn't see the full architecture and real life, I think, of Stonetown. So that was a little unfortunate, but still a lot of good history, a lot of good culture. We were able to do a little bit of shopping down there as well. And then go through the meat market, which was interesting. It was interesting.
I don't know feel about that.
Yeah, we're used to obviously going to the store. All the meats are nice and packaged. It's clean, air conditioning, no bugs. but we were walking through this. There was flies going everywhere, things crawling, and the meat just hanging out there. I don't know if I saw a single block of ice
Yeah.
So
I had
be
questions.
a lot of questions, but be alarmed, right? And don't buy any meat from the Stonetown meat market. If you're from America, your body might not be able to fight it off and handle it. That's all I'm saying. Queen, any other capades that we went on that you want to share?
We did do, I know I have two probably that I don't know which one you're thinking of, but we did do a couples massage. We went to a spa that was just maybe a couple minutes away from where we were staying. And that was so wonderful. It was a whole experience because the resort itself was kind of like it was literally on the beach, but they had so much like coverage from the trees. It almost felt like you were in a rainforest, but on the beach. It was just serene. And then you got there literally as we're walking up to the spa, we saw monkeys going through the trees. That was the first time we had seen monkeys like the whole trip, and they were literally right there. So it was just really cool. They give you some tea, and then you get your couples massage. Like it's not inside, but it's kind of like a little like screened off area where you get the couples massage. That had its pluses and minuses. It was cool to be able to kind of be in the environment, still hear the ocean or whatever. But there was a couple of times where I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's like, am I just having a little tingling on my leg? Or is there some crawling on my leg, right? Because you still have all of the bugs and stuff on the sand and stuff like that. So that was, of course, that ruined the part of at least that 5-minute period where I was wondering if there was something crawling on me. I wasn't able to fully enjoy the massage. So that was, one thing. And then we also did a day of real estate touring. And that's just because we are the M4, right? We're always thinking about like every place we go, we're trying to ask ourselves like, could we have a property here? Could we vacation here? Could we retire here? So we had already wanted to go explore real estate in Zanzibar because we had, did some research beforehand and learned that it was pretty affordable. So we did do a day of just kind of looking at some land plots and, properties just to see what that possibility could look like. So those are really all of the adventures we did in Zanzibar.
Oh yeah. And really, wish we would have found that spa earlier because there was a nice restaurant there. They had classes there. There's just a lot of stuff right there. So I think if we would have found it earlier, we could have spent an entire day just chilling over there. And then the real estate tour, as you already said, was just a really good experience. So we had a taxi from the resort that took us around, met up with a real, I don't know if he was a broker or an agent. I believe he was a broker, but he drove us to like 4 or 5 different spots. We were able to meet some of the owners and just ask them a little bit, about the homes, about the culture in Zanzibar and whatnot. And it was a little bit more expensive than we were thinking, but I think it was still a really dope experience to be in Africa and seriously driving around looking at investing in real estate. And I think, it opened our minds up a little bit. We drew up a potential business plan, went over some numbers, and it's just good, again, like this business exercise and imagination exercise to think about what are the possibilities. So, highly encourage whenever you're traveling, just take a peek at real estate. I think for us, we live in America and it seems like this is the best that we could do. And then we travel to a Zanzibar, a Cape Town, a Ghana, an Italy, a Thailand, and we're like, oh, for $100,000 we can do what?
Right.
Okay. Opens up the possibilities, y'all. So just think about it. All right.
Yep.
So capades, Sinclair, what are we giving capades for Zanzibar?
I'm torn between a 5 and a 7 again, but I'll go 7. Just because I feel like the Blue Safari I really enjoyed, and I love water, so I really enjoyed that. Although some of the like the Stone Town was a little underwhelming, but I'm still gonna go 7.
7. I'm gonna go with 7 could go, but I'm gonna go 7.5. And I feel like for me, and we've talked about this offline, but it was a different vibe and it was more relaxing.
Yeah.
And I think the Portugal capades were good. The Colombian capades were definitely dope. Cape Town, we did some exciting things, but for me, Zanzibar was really the most relaxing. We're on a boat ride. We're getting a massage. We're swimming on a private beach, basically. And I feel like it's hard to do some of those things other places, right? It's not really what's not reclo. Say the word for me.
It's not
It's like
accessible,
you can't replicate it. It's not
oh,
replicable.
replicable.
Replicable. There we go.
Replicable.
Replicable.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
Duplicable. Struggling. But it just seemed like things that you can only experience in Zanzibar. And this wasn't a capade, but our view was just beautiful. Right. And then this wasn't a planned capade, but the fact that the Queen was able to just walk off of the stairs from our hotel, and the ocean was literally right there on the stairs. And that's, I don't know what category that would be other than capade. So I'm giving it a 7.5.
Yeah, that was definitely like a core memory for me. I love swimming. I love the ocean. So being able to, like, he's right, literally, like, so there's like 4 steps that go from the resort to the beach. I'm talking about, like, once you get on the 4th step, you are in the ocean. And so I literally just like took off my swim cover up and I started swimming, and he couldn't get me out that water. So that was really, really nice.
I think we literally have a video where I'm like, Queen, don't go too far.
Right, like, right. Yeah. And then the guy from the hotel, I think his name was Joseph. He came out. He was like, go further.
I was like, no, relax, bro, relax. All right, trying to bring her back.
Right.
Oh man. All right, so we got Capade 7.25 for Zanzibar. We are going to go to a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will go through the last 2 categories. Y'all stick with us. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop those inside the comments. Queen, see you in a second. Look, we're going to get right back into the amazing podcast. But if you didn't know, in 2017, we created Black Wall Street, the board game, because we thought more families needed to know about the history of Tulsa Black Wall Street. More families needed to know about the legacy of Black excellence left behind of Tulsa Black Wall Street, that we can own a Madam C.J. Walker Beauty Salon. We can have a Booker T. Washington High School. We can have an Uncle Steve's Barbecue. We can have a Renaissance man like Simon Berry, who had his own taxi service and bus service that got bought out by the city of Tulsa. We have brilliance in our DNA. We wanted to make sure that your family can play a game that teaches them about this brilliance. So we have Black Wall Street, the board game, right here. We had the first edition available in 2017. That got sold out. We're on the 2nd edition right now, or you can get the beautiful masterpiece version of the game as well. It's up to you. Head to playblackwallstreet.com and get yourself Black Wall Street, the board game, to empower you, your family, and generations to come. Playblackwallstreet.com. Let's get back to the episode. All right, Queen. So what is the next C that we are going to review?
Let's go cuisine. I'm actually just thinking about how hungry I am, so I think that's fitting. So cuisine. Naturally, being in Zanzibar and an island, there's a lot of fresh seafood. That's like a huge part of the cuisine. So not only at our resort were we having, there was always a fresh menu, like a daily specials menu. It always had some type of fresh fish that was like just caught. They also had like a seafood platter. We had, when we went on the Blue Safari, the lunch that they served us was a Swahili barbecue. Mm-hmm. And so that came with, shrimp. I think there was lobster.
Lobster. Yep.
Yeah, lobster, some tuna, and just like they served it on a huge platter, and you just kind of got whatever you wanted. And then that came with like some rice, some pilau rice, and then some fries. They called them chips, but there was basically fries as well. So yeah, seafood is a huge part of the culture there. Also, when we went to the Spice Farm, had a very similar version of that meal. We had tuna. We had pilau rice, we had roti, and basically just ate that with the kind of tuna, and they had like a stew sauce that we were able to dribble on top. So seafood, huge part of the culture, as well as pilau rice. That was like up almost in every meal we had, every authentic meal we had. They had some pilau rice, which is I'm trying to think of like an equivalent of that. It's
like kind of like dirty rice. Yeah, I was gonna say it's like a blend between like rice and peas, dirty rice, and not quite jollof rice, but like somewhere in that field.
Yeah, it's just got a bunch of different seasonings and spices in it. It's super flavorful. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I've liked it some places more than others, but it was pretty
Mhm.
good. And then chicken curry. Curry is a huge part. You know, they have kind of a nice blend of like South Asian, like Indian type of food and African food in Zanzibar. So you get a nice kind of blend of the cultures where there's a lot of curries and just really delicious kind of soupy, stewy type foods.
Mhm.
And even we got to see a bunch of those when we went to Stone Town as well. We went
Yeah.
to a restaurant where you basically just see a bunch of the different foods and choose what you want, kind of buffet style. And so there was a lot of different soups and stews. And then dessert, we had plantains. We had dessert plantains, which was new for us.
Mhm.
And that was interesting.
Yeah, to be honest with you, the Stone Town plantains I didn't like. Because they tasted more like bananas.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
it did.
they taste like bananas. Everything else in Zanzibar, I was grubbing, I was eating really good. And our hotel or resort had good food as well. And I know,
Hmm.
sometimes when you're at a hotel, the food is not cultural or it's not authentic, but they had some, normal stuff. But then they also like every day they had a different special. So every day I
Hmm.
would go to that menu, right? That chalkboard, but all right, what's the special today? So the curry was always good. We had like a seafood feast one day. I don't know if that was at the
Hmm.
resort, that was somewhere else, but that was fire. And then we had a spot that was a little off the resort. What did we get from there?
I think we got like a whole fried fish. I know that was
Yeah.
one of the things we got. That was pretty good.
Yep.
I don't know what else we got, honestly.
Yeah, I'm sure I took a picture, but that food was also really good.
Hmm.
So yeah, I feel like the only thing that missed was was that banana. Everything else was good stuff. So cuisine, I'm thinking I'm thinking a solid 8. I'm thinking an 8. I could be persuaded to a 7.5. But I feel like the fact that we had a lot of different foods, the fact that we had fresh seafood, the quantities were always good. And what's also ringing in my memory is when we came in from our flight, right? This was like at
Mm.
10, 11 o'clock at night, like the hotel, the kitchen already closed. We were able to put in our order ahead of time and they left food for us inside of the room. So as we checked in at like 10, 11 p.m., hungry,
Wow.
tired, famished, right? We were able to just eat that food right there. And yeah, that was just a really another good core memory and just service
Yes.
that I appreciated. So I'm gonna give Zanzibar an 8 for food.
And I'm gonna go 7.5. I think, yeah, the service of the food was fantastic. I loved the breakfast every day and the fact that they had like, sometimes the continental breakfast or the free breakfast is like, okay, this is some. I'll just go down and get some fruit. But like we were able to eat like fresh cooked eggs and like an omelet and avocado toast and fruit and coffee. Like, it was just a full breakfast that was so
Oh, the
good.
coffee. I forgot
Yeah.
about the coffee. The coffee was good.
So I'm gonna go 7.5.
Cool. So we are at a 7.75 for cuisine. Ladies and gentlemen, royalty. We have one more category left for Zanzibar. All in all, we'll say this at the end, but I would definitely recommend folks to go to Zanzibar,
Mhm.
get this experience for yourself, right? You may have a different palate than us. You may have a different budget than us. You may do different capes and experiences and have a different experience, right? But hopefully this gives you a little bit of a taste, a little bit of a sample of what you can expect if you travel to Zanzibar. But last but not least, Queen, can we talk about the culture? Right? Can we talk
Mhm.
about the culture of the Spice Island?
Yes. I think the culture is one of the more notable things about Zanzibar that makes it very unique. One of the things I have like kind of different categories here, but language was one of the first ones I wanted to talk about. So,
Hmm.
one of the primary language spoken there is Swahili. And it's a fun language to learn. And we were having fun, like trying to learn how to say like, I love you and like, thank
Hmm.
you. And they're very prideful of their language and they sing songs, right? Akuna Matata. I promise you, I didn't know that was actually like
A
real.
real
Uh,
word.
right, yeah, a real word, but they actually like they say that it's like a vibe, it's like their motto, like it's just an island like vibe and lifestyle that they live there. But yeah, Swahili is the main language there. Many people do speak English, or at least some English, at least at the resort. But yeah, Swahili was the main language there. And I know Devon always has fun learning different languages, and knew a little bit before we went there, and of course.
Mm-hmm. Habari.
Yeah, habari. But the vibe of the whole island is the other thing I kind of wanted to talk about. And so we stayed in a village, and that's kind of how the island is broken up into different villages. And so we stayed in Jambiani, which is a village again on the east side. And the culture there was different than a lot of the other villages that we visited, because again, we went on a real estate tour, so we kind of went on different places around the island. But the culture, specifically in Jambiani, is the beach vibe, kind of laid back culture. You are still in a village, and that's something that is again different than a lot of other places where if you're in the tourist area, it just feels like you're in a tourist area. You don't get that in Zanzibar. It's very clear, yes, you're on a resort, or you're on this little kind of boutique, hotel, but the minute you come out of that, you are reminded you are in a village where people live their lives, right? And so it's just so interesting to walk out, and I think of and the people are very nice as well. I'm thinking about the real estate tour we went on, and there was this little boy that was out, out. They were so cute. This little boy that was out, when we were one of the plots we were looking at, and he just kept saying Jumbo, which is how they say hi. I promise you, he did not. He just literally kept saying hi, and we kept, we would say hi back every now and then. But he was just so friendly, just hey, hey. And just that's the culture. Everybody's pretty friendly, and happy to see melanated folks. I will say, and we'll get to it a little bit later, that I think the experience for women and men might be a little bit different based on what you're used to. And again, we'll get into that later, but I wanted to get your take on, Devon, kind of the vibe of Zanzibar and what you liked about it most.
Yeah, so I also really like the easygoing culture and vibe of Jambiani. And it's hard sometimes to know what is the authentic culture versus what is customer service, right? So yes, they were singing the songs. The hotel staff was very, very friendly and willing to give us even extra notes when it comes to buying real estate, connect us with other people. So I feel like that was just, I think, good to just see and experience the fact that they wanted us as a melanated couple to invest and to be in Jambiani specifically, but Zanzibar more generally. Let's see what else. When we were on the Blue Safari tour, I was speaking to one of the young men, and he spoke 5-6 different languages, right? So obviously English. He spoke a little bit of Polish, Swahili, Arabic, and I believe French. So just seeing the vast intelligence and the willingness to learn different languages, but also the need to learn different languages because the tourists are always coming through. Let's see, I'm trying to think anything else. No, I mean, everywhere I go, whether it's melanated folks and I have my locks out, they're always Rastafari, Rastafari, which is definitely, I think, welcoming, but also at the same time makes me want to do more research into what is Rastafarian as a religion, as a symbol, because I'm going to all these places and they're associating me with a particular culture, but I'm not educated on that particular culture. So I think I just need to do a little bit of research so I know when I'm stepping into Zanzibar, into Ghana, into Jamaica, into all the other places, how are people viewing me because of my locks? Which I think is a good little bit of segue to how the Queen felt a little bit walking around with her locks, walking around as a woman in a largely Islamic culture, right? So in addition to Swahili, another very popular language because of the religion is Arabic. But again, religion-wise, Rastafarianism is a religion that's sometimes tied to locks, tied to a certain aesthetic. And then Islam is another religion that has a certain code of conduct and a certain culture to it. And walking around, Sinclair or I, both of us, we're getting a little bit of some eyes, some looks So I'll pass it back to you to talk about your perception and experience as a woman walking around the Spice Island.
Yeah, so this particularly, I mean, this was happening in a lot of places outside of the resort, but particularly in Stone Town, when that is where a lot of the locals kind of are, that's highly populated and a lot of folks work. And so that is particularly where, I mean, people are breaking their necks looking at me slash us.
Hey, that's what happens to you, Sinclair. People be breaking their necks looking at you.
But
Come on, Queen.
okay, yeah, okay.
It wasn't in
It
that way.
wasn't in that way at all, right?
It
Okay, I'm a woman who's experienced that. I think any woman has experienced that, like the breaking your neck. So I'm like, oh, okay, like it wasn't that. It was like a, who are you? Like, do you like? I think when I kind of, reflected afterwards, and I think maybe what it was is they're used to seeing European tourists, so they're used to seeing white folks there dress however they're going to dress because they're not used to the culture, and it's like, okay, they're tourists, they don't know better, we expect them to come in tank tops and shorts or whatever. But I think we did kind of hear the suggestions beforehand of like kind of go, just out of respect, kind of cover up a little bit so that when you're going into the Stone Town and you're going outside of the village, it's not like, I don't want to be disrespectful or anything like that. So I did like have my shoulders covered. I wore a long skirt, so I didn't have nearly as much skin showing as I did in other places. But still, I think the fact that like my hair was out, that was a huge thing. Every woman that I saw that was not working at the resort was completely covered, right? And that's part of their religion, part of their culture is to be completely covered up. And so I think the fact that my hair was out and I'm a Black woman, they can tell that I'm melanated. I think that it's kind of like are you one of us? And just kind of like not following the religion or not following the culture. Like it was almost kind of like just confusion. I think people were confused seeing me at the end of the day. And so of course I never got to talk to anybody, so I don't know exactly what it was. If it was what I was wearing a poncho because it was raining. So I don't know if it was like, why is she wearing a plastic bag on her like body? So I don't know like what it was, but like there was just a lot of stares. And again, not based on the like facial expressions of everybody. It wasn't like an admirational stare. Like it was like I'm confused, like who are you type of thing. And so, that getting that once or twice is one thing, but like getting that all day, like walking around Stone Town and like everybody's looking at you does start to get to you a little bit, and kind of started to like, I wasn't able to enjoy it as much because I'm like so insecure and like, so like, what is it about me that people are staring at? So yeah, that was my experience. And of course, yes, having locks, I didn't see anybody else in Zanzibar with locks, any other women, excuse me, in Zanzibar with locks, that I could see again, because everybody had their hair covered. But yeah, it was just an interesting experience. Like, I don't know how else to describe it besides like interesting, but it did, like, at the end of the day, start to get to me a little bit and make me start to feel insecure about like, what am I doing that's causing all of these stares? Because I thought I dressed appropriately, but it was still like, whoa, who is this? Who is that? So yeah, that's just my very honest experience about like the kind of tug that I was feeling on. This was my first time in the motherland, so I expected this like, welcome back, this warm welcome, but it was more like, who are you and what are you doing here? Like, do you belong? I'm confused type of thing. So it was interesting.
Yep. And again, just want to give the context that, this is a majority Islamic place, right? And this is no shade to that culture. It's a very strong culture, but I think they're used to seeing women in a certain way, they're used to seeing men in a certain way, and they're used to certain customs. And we weren't following those customs, so we got some eyes. So just something to be aware about, or to be aware of, if you are traveling to Zanzibar specifically, and you're going into Stone Town, you're going into places where a lot of the local folks are going to be. You are going to want to be aware of the customs, and just make sure that you're following suit, not being disrespectful. We weren't being disrespectful, but what we were doing. But again, just want to make sure that when you're going out there, you're also being intentional on how you are presenting yourself in those environments. Now, Queen, overall, what would you give the culture of Zanzibar? Everything in mind, right? Understanding your experience with it, and also understanding their authentic culture. Where are you sitting out of 10?
I think I'm gonna go with a 7. Because I really liked, like, I love the beach vibe, the island vibes, the Hakuna Matata, like the no worries. Like that's what I'm all about. Well, that's what I'm looking for when I go on vacation for the most part, is like that type of vibe. So I really did love that. I love the songs they were singing, Hakuna Matata. Like I loved that. But yes, of course I've got it would probably be higher if with all things considered. So I think I'm gonna sit right in the middle of like a 7, with considering everything of the experience.
Nice. 7 seems pretty reasonable. I'm trying to think if I would go any higher. I'm also, I think, gonna go with a 7. I feel like the culture was a strong culture. I did feel when I was there, like I'm in Zanzibar, I'm in Africa, or specifically I'm in Zanzibar, because it was even a different culture than Ghana than I felt. So I appreciated that. Did like the songs. I think I would have wanted a little bit more. And, maybe this was us on, maybe we should have asked more questions. Maybe we should have went on more historical capades, but a little bit more history on why the culture is the way it is. Maybe learning a little bit about how the religion of Islam came to Zanzibar and how that impacted the culture of Zanzibar. How the African culture and the Islamic culture kind of meet together in certain traditions and certain habits. I think I would have wanted to understand more. So just based on, outside perceptions, I'm also sticking with a 7. Cool. So rewinding cost, we got 6.75. Capes, we got a 7.25. Cuisine, we got a 7.75. And culture, we got a 7, which gives us a total of 28.25 divided by 4. The total is a 7.06 for Zanzibar. All right. Queen, with that in mind, 7.06, would you, 1, recommend Zanzibar to another couple? And 2, would you ever return to Zanzibar?
Yes and yes, hands down. Even everything considered, I would definitely return. I definitely would probably do some more research and definitely, like he said, want to do some more activities or maybe another tour or some type of historical activity where we do get to learn more about the history, the culture there, why it is, how did it come about? How is Zanzibar what it is right now? That's definitely something I would want to do when we go back. And probably go on a different part of the island too, just to see if it's any different. And yeah, definitely recommend. I think it's just a different experience. And like he said, different than, because we went to Cape Town right after. Well, that's going to be the next one that we do. Really different than Cape Town. So I think it's just a different environment, different culture than a lot of other parts of Africa as well. So definitely would recommend it for exposure, for experience, for sure.
Nice. And if you saw, she said, when we go back.
Come
on. Love to hear it. I would also highly recommend it for couples, specifically if you're looking for a place to relax, heal, get some self-love, self-care in, get those couple massages, eat some good food, go on a private beach sandbank. I think it's just a really relaxing and peaceful trip. So I would highly recommend it for others. And then would I go back? Yes. I would definitely go back. I think I would want to go back to Jambiani, but also see other parts of Zanzibar and then take a deeper dive into the culture next time as well. So that's our trip to Zanzibar, y'all. 7.06 out of 10. Leave your comments below if you would go to Zanzibar. And if so, what are you most looking forward to on the Spice Island? Queen, well done. Our goal was to do a 30-minute, 45-minute podcast. It didn't happen. We got close.
Close as close as we've been.
We got pretty close, y'all. Congratulations to us. Quick updates before we end the podcast, Queen. What you got for the folks?
We still got our 12-week financial literacy Leaders Innovating Tomorrow program. 10-week. Yes, we making some changes, y'all. Always improving. 10-week financial literacy program, Leaders Innovating Tomorrow, aka LIT, that we are working with high schools and middle schools, primarily in Southern California. We are really based in Los Angeles right now, looking to are expanding there, but also looking to expand into other areas in Southern California, Inland Empire, San Diego, San Bernardino. So if you are wanting to get this program, if this sounds interesting, if you know somebody in any of those schools that you think would benefit from this program, have them reach out to us at info@playblackwallstreet.com so we can start to talk about how to support your students and help them learn how to start a business and solve the problems that they're seeing in their community through entrepreneurship.
Greatness. Let's see. Other than that, I feel like that's the only thing I want to focus on right now. Right, we're trying to focus in our energies a little bit on the LIT program. We are definitely growing it, and it's gonna double up. It's gonna double up next year, which is a scary thing as a business owner, right? As leaders of this organization, to see this extreme growth is so exciting on one side, y'all. Like, we went from 8 students in the program to 154 in the program within 1 calendar year.
Yeah,
exponential growth. It's beautiful to see, but at the same time, it's also like a little bit scary, a little bit nervous, and we definitely will take this summer to figure out or continue to improve upon our systems. We're bringing in some consultants and some professionals to train us and our staff on training, on class management, on how to best educate and engage our students, and really taking our curriculum to the next level. So just excited, but also a little nervous about the LIT program. It's gonna be good though. Another thing that we're working on throughout this summer is the Black History of Rose and Rodney animation series, right? So if you didn't know, last year we did our pilot of the animation series, just 1 episode, but throughout this summer, we're going to be finishing up those books, as well as working with Aaron, the artist, dope artist out here in California, to animate these books as well. So I'm excited to see that project come to life. Sinclair has a great voice as the voice in life behind Rose. I am struggling to do my high-pitched voice as the life and voice behind Rodney. And then we got, our friend Joy and some other folks in it as well. So it's gonna be a fun project. So look out for that. Black History Adventures of Rose and Rodney, coming to a bookshelf and YouTube screen, phone screen near you. Queen.
Yes.
You hungry?
Starving.
We gotta go eat.
I'm here for it.
Possibly. All right, cool. So y'all know I gotta end this podcast so that I can go feed the queen. Because if you don't know, when she gets hungry, it's a whole nother game. Oh, right. When I get hungry, it's a whole nother game too. Yeah, it's bad. But we appreciate y'all. Please make sure y'all like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are growing it. Our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. We are well on our way. So make sure y'all like and subscribe and share this podcast with a friend, with a couple that you know wants to build a strong, wealthy, melanated marriage. I'm your host, Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
And I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd.
Make sure y'all secure the marriage. Make sure y'all secure the love. And of course, make sure y'all secure the bag. Thank you for supporting the M4 show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all, any, do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, anything, all of them, all of them, wherever you're listening. Go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.